Ah, well, hello there! As you can tell, I am French, and thus I can critique anything I wish with impunity. I encourage you to do the same. Take to Twitter, find those things that others have proven themselves and tear it apart because they have made it, and of course, you have not. It's not fair. Sure, you could stand on your own merit, but why work hard when there is a Twitter mob to make you internet famous, n'est-ce pas? Other people's art, videos, sculptures, stories, and the ability to play the professional sports? The limit is your own ability to criticize without being able to do it yourself. And if they fight back, oh no, and critique your critique, well, the mob is there to handle them for you. Yes. Watch as they defend in that what started as a victim and use words they barely understand, like misogyny, patriarchy, sexualization, and of course, fitness. So go, my little lemmings, go forth and be outraged. Vive la outrage! Vive la outrage! Wrong one.
This is Crashed While Loading, the fusion of entertainment and information.
Hello there.
Weekly updates and opinions on video games,
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
movies,
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
TV shows,
This is the way.
This is the way.
and so much more.
JJ, what do you want to do tonight?
Off. We need to go on a quick adventure. Hello, people of the interweb. Welcome to the 33rd horrible episode of Crash While Loading. This time with 15% more horrible. Yeah, and after the last episode where I will promise, I swear to God, I am never going to read off statistics. That had to have been the worst show I think I've ever done, and that's actually saying a lot. And the next time I think it's fun to read off figures and math and shit like that, somebody do me a favor and just like hit me upside the head with a tack hammer, because that was just dumb. I mean, it's interesting for me, but it's probably not so interesting to listen to somebody spouting off a bunch of numbers. So yeah, I apologize for that, because that was just bad. And I apologize for this episode, because it's probably going to be better, but that's like not saying a lot, really, at all, whatsoever. And I'm also going to apologize. I think I might be coming down with something. So I got that weird, like, I'm not sick yet. Like, I'm not like that. I'm not running a fever. But it's that strange tiredness, like a fatigue for no reason. And I mean, I know why I would be sick. Our grandson had 100 and something degree temperature, 103 degree temperature last night, and we were up with him all night long, which was so much fun. Just wanted to go to bed at 11:30. So anyway, at 1 o'clock, I'm on my way to Walgreens, and yeah, that was fun. He's doing better now. He's still not feeling great, but you know, little guys, they got to get sick. They do it now or they do it later. It's the only way to build up immunity. So, but yeah, so if I get a little like out there or really easily sidetracked more so than normal, I'm going to blame it on the fact that I may be coming down with something, or it could just be excessive exhaustion. And also, thank you, Ericus, for criticizing my accent. Yeah, and I know, French, I know this might be a surprise, is not something I actually do an accent of a lot. Although I have noticed I can do it okay, and I appreciate the, otherwise that he would have believed it, and he would know. He has to live up in Canada with the French Canadians, which even other Canadians are like, I mean, they're here, and it's illegal to remove them, so I guess we'll keep them. I mean, the food's terrible, so we got that going for us. Yeah, way to go, Quebec. You'll rue the day you crossed me, Quebec. Oddly enough, that works. So we're going to go with it. But yes, thank you for both the criticism and the compliment, which is ironic, given the big chunk of today's episode is going to be about people doing criticisms of other people's stuff without being asked. Although, given, I understand, and I know Eric is just joking. I'm not bashing on him. This one was handled very well as well, and they didn't give into the Twitter mob, which kudos to you for J. Scott Campbell, comic book artist, for not doing that, because I get really sick and tired of people having done nothing wrong and being like, oh, I apologize. But when you do put yourself out there, like this show, you can be critiqued, and that's perfectly fine. And if somebody does that, don't be upset when that person hits back, because that's kind of how those things work. Yeah, if you're going to unwillingly give somebody your opinion that they didn't ask for, don't be upset when they, unwilling to you, give their opinion of what you just did back. Yeah, that's the way the world works. But we got a great, outside of that, we got another 15 probably minutes of content to go over. There was Final Fantasy XIV's Fanfest, new stuff from He-Man, which I never thought that would ever happen, let alone from Kevin Smith. Pokemon cards actually turned into a gunfight almost, which is insane. And PS4 shortages. And, of course, at the very end of the show, I'm going to save it for last because, honestly, if I did it at the beginning of the show, it would ruin everything that came after there. Nothing would honestly compare. So, in the words of Yoshi P., who is Final Fantasy XIV's director, please look forward to it. But before that, we have this.
This is Crash While Loading's half-ass reviews. Maybe we finished it. Maybe we didn't. But either way, here's what we thought of it.
So, completely randomly, Sip and I were looking for a movie. We're on like the last 3 or 4 episodes of Breaking Bad, but we needed a break because I don't know, for those of you that have seen that show, it's rather intense and a little dark. So we're going to go in to finish that up. But we were looking for a movie to watch, and we just happened to come across a thing called Spontaneous on Amazon Prime. We were just looking for free Prime movies. It's actually not an Amazon movie, but it's on Amazon Prime. Spontaneous, if you're interested. Basically, the quick synopsis is that for no fucking reason whatsoever, kids in this high school just explode. Like if they were just a blood balloon of people, and it just pop, and they blow up all over everything around them. There's, it's very, very gory. And the trailer looked funny. It's one of those, like, seriously, like, it's very witty. At least I thought so. And judge off my sense of humor how dark it can get. It's a very romantic, dark comedy kind of a thing. Yes, it does this similar trope that all fucking movies do, that, like, oh, they're high school kids, but they talk like they're 35 years old, and they're as jaded and cynical as, well, me. I mean, given I was pretty jaded and cynical in high school as well. What with the black trench coat and whatnot. And yes, I know Columbine made that very popular. It did not, but I still liked the trench coat. I actually still have a leather one, and I look pretty svelte in it. Very, very nice. But so you go through the whole movie, you never know who's going to be next. You don't really ever find out what causes it. It's really honestly not that important in the overall plot of it. It's just the fact that it could happen at any time. They try to figure out what's going on. The government comes in, and we're here to help. Remember that. And that goes over as well as you would expect, of course. I mean, it's gone over so well with the COVID vaccines. I mean, it's just, understandably, actually, that was done by private industry, which is why it happened within a year and not taking years and years, as if the government had done it, which is saying more about the government's inability to actually do a thing and just impose things on other people than actually create something. Remember, kids, if they're saying they created a job, somebody that actually, as a business, created that job. Unless, of course, you work directly for the government. Not that I can bash on that, because I work for the post office. Although we don't actually get government funds unless we're being bailed out recently. And I blame that on Amazon. Yeah, but that's a entire different story. Don't get me started on how Amazon is screwing over the post office, only to one day be its biggest competition if it's not already there. So anyway, romantic dark comedy. It had a lot of really, really laugh out loud, funny, snarky comments. It had a lot of really, oh, that's very sweet. And then several mixed in, holy shit, kind of just like out of nowhere. I know I'm being vague, but it is so good. I don't want to spoil things other than, like, if you watch the trailer, I'm basically giving you the synopsis of the trailer, because that's obviously safe. But give the trailer a look. Spontaneous. It has a 98 from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, which is shocking, and a 67 audience score. And although this almost never happens, I agree with the actual critics. I would agree that it's, I don't know about 98, but it's like a 9 out of 10 on both, on just the way the elements happened. Apparently it's based off of a book. The book has mixed reviews, funny enough, but the movie actually does better. But yeah, give it a shot. If you like, if you got Amazon Prime and you're looking for a dark comedy, like, and one also don't have if you're jazz and you can't stomach gore, it's not like Saw level where like limbs, it's literally like the kids just turn into a thing of blood, and there's no like swelling and they're like, "Argh!" It's just bam, and there's blood everywhere. That's all there is to it. I can't imagine how many gallons of fake blood they fucking went through in production of that movie. It gets nuts. I mean, just crazy. Very good, though. Spontaneous. Also, still playing through Resident Evil 8. We're gotta be getting towards the end. We've gone through a lot of the, the quote-unquote bosses and things like that. Lords, as they're called in this one. And I think we've got 1 or 2 left, and we'll probably play that tonight, but it is fantastic. Each area we've gone to is its own little ecosystem of creepy and crazy. There's Castle Dimitrescu, again, not Dimitrescu, as we were all saying it wrong for a year. Dimitrescu. And it was funny that Capcom never corrected anyone. Like, actually, it's Dimitrescu in the game. We don't call it Dimitrescu. But then the next area was, oh shoot, see, this is where the sickness thing is coming in. I'm totally blanking. It wasn't the slime area. There was a slimy area. Oh, it was like a cottage thing, which was super. That one was the super duper creepy area. But no, it's fantastic. I'll give a full review when we actually finish it. Unlike, this isn't a professional. Clearly, this isn't a professional operation, so I don't have time to just barrel through video games like real reviewers do. It takes time. But I can't give you also a quick Mass Effect. Yeah, right. I know. It's just, I am actually a little lightheaded. I don't know why. It is really annoying. But thank you for your concern, Ericus. I would give out my area code, but that's like you pretending you don't already know where I live. And I know you know, because I've seen you in the bushes at night. Don't think I don't have the cameras on you. Yeah. And don't think I don't return the favor. And now here's the deal. I'm not stalking you, Ericus. But I will say you really need to clean from behind your couch. It's getting a little dirty back there. Just a random statement. It has nothing to do with any stalking or form of stalkery. Other thing too, Mass Effect. I'm going to do this review because it's the future as George W. Bush. So the Mass Effect Legendary Edition's got lots of editions, and there's like 3 games in it. And if you break it down, they're $20 a piece, or bucks as we call it down in Texas, which is $60 total for those of you that don't do math. I can't keep doing George Bush. Although I can do one of my favorite quotes of GW. I believe that we can live in a world where people and fish coexist peacefully with one another. I don't know if it's the direct quote, but it is really damn close. He actually did say that. Which is why he's one of my favorites to mimic. But yeah, Mass Effect Legendary Edition. I've probably played maybe 8 or 10 hours of the first one, obviously, because it's, they're like 50, 60-hour games. I'm not going to this is going to be a months-long, probably, update as we go. It's definitely has. I'm sure if you've been watching, it's got a lot of great improvements. The first one is nearly 15 years old, and it plays better than a nearly 15-year-old game would. Like if they've increased some of the speeds, they've fixed the HUD so that you don't have tiny little bars on the side. It's more like it is in the second and third ones on the HUD for your shields and your life and your party, which is fantastic. I do seem to remember the first time I played through it being annoyed because I spent a lot of time in the menu switching out gear and weapons and whatnot, and that seems to have been made much easier. I think, don't quote me on this, but it sure seems like if you switch, you can put attachments on a weapon, and if you switch to a new weapon, there's now a feature that says, would you like to drag the attachments over to the new one? And I feel like that's something new. Maybe I am wrong, but I seem to recall, given 14 years ago, 2007, how old were you 14 years ago? Nobody knows. It's impossible to figure out that far back in the past. It can't be done. But you would then have to go to the old weapon that you just undid and then pull all the things out of it, then go to the new one and put them all back in. And that seems to be like what I remember taking the longest time, also looking for, better weapons. They've changed the leveling system. You can go 1 to 60 in the first game, or you can do the that's not a good sign. Do the legendary thing where it's 1 to 30, and I think you're basically getting 2 levels for every one because I seem like I'm getting a lot more points, to level up with, which is good. Visually, it's fantastic. The animation, okay, I should clarify on visuals. Texturally, on the clothing, on the world, on the ship, objects, fantastic. Faces, better than the first one, but not great. They still have a very high uncanny valley thing. Oh, actually, and Erica said, I only played Mass Effect 2, the Dragon Blood armor, though, when you purchased Dragon Age Origins to get the DLC. And that's actually included in the Legendary. All DLC is included in this Legendary Edition. So when I get to our Resident Evil 2, or Mass Effect, Resident Evil 2, you can tell me where my brain's at. Mass Effect 2, I can actually don that armor. And I, too, had that armor. Although I think I tried Dark Age Origins, and I've never gotten that far into any of the Dark Age games, to be honest with you. Even the good one, I don't know. I don't do well with those multiple real-world party games. It's just something about them doesn't work well for me, and I don't know why. You give me like a Final Fantasy where my party is just, appears out of nowhere magically, that's fine. But no, the Legendary Edition, the faces and the animations are still janky. The animations, I don't think they were motion captured, which is why they're hand animated, which is why it's very stiff, very 2007. But it plays so much better than I remembered. Once I figured out how the cover system works, and remember this too, 2007, like, the covering system stuff was just getting popular, I think, because of Gears of War at the time. They were the first to really, really make that go mainstream, and then everybody tried to copy it, unfortunately. And now we have entire things just built around a cover system, and it's pretty bad. But, yeah, I mean, if you've never played Mass Effect, and you've always been curious and wanted to, this is definitely the version to get. If you've played it and you've been like me, haven't played it since they came out, this is definitely the version to get. There's no way around it. It's knocking other games that, new games completely off. It knocked Resident Evil 8 off the top of the charts. I am very curious to hear the numbers. I know RE8 sold 3 million copies so far. Yeah, that was almost earlier this week. Did I call it Dark Age? Yeah. I don't know. I told you I'm not feeling good. Was it Dark Age? Dragon Age. Thank you. Dragon Age. I know. I told you I'd get there. Dark Age. What's I think? Oh, Dark Age Camelot. That's the one I was thinking of. Dragon Age. Because they got dragons. Because that's original. Looking at you, Elder Scrolls Online. So, yeah. Give it a shot if you never played it. Go into the news now. Because other people don't for some reason, I'm going to cover MMO stuff because why? I like MMOs. I actually did a thing recently with Scribbles and Renfail on his Mondays and MMOs thing, but it's not out yet. I'll announce when it is. And they were kind enough to invite me, and we talked over all. There was a topic, but we really bounced around a lot in a lot of ways, and it was a fan. I love talking shop like that, especially with two people that are actually making an MMO was a really cool thing. And hey, Jazzy. So, but when that comes out, I'll let you know. And that was a lot of fun. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I really, really hope I'm not coming down with something. This is how my mind works. If I'm starting to come down with something, that whole ADHD thing I just kind of make fun of seems to become a lot more prevalent. So Fanfest, Final Fantasy XIV's Endwalker, has a release date. Comes out the 23rd of 2021, unless you pre-order it, in which case you can play on the 19th, which is Friday. Also, if you pre-order even the like $40 digital version, you get like an earring that you can equip that gives you 30% XP gain. And since I'm playing through that and currently level 50, that seemed like a really good incentive to go ahead and do that. Let's see here. They released the full trailer for it, and if you've never seen a Final Fantasy, any Square Enix trailer is always fantastic. It's just, and these ones are no exception. Even if they're, I mean, I like the only ones that I can even compare them to would be the Star Wars, the Old Republic ones. Those are fantastic. That's especially the original ones from the base. Those original 3. Those are like 5-6 minutes of pure Star Wars awesome. You know, short. They're short. They tell a story. They're fantastic. They look great visually. Even, I don't know how long, 8 years later now, it's just really good. But Final Fantasy, they just blow it out of the water. And the music in this trailer for Endwalker is absolutely fantastic. I'm a huge fan of Miyayoshi Soken, who is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the composer with the most original songs ever written in a video game. And I think it's got to be with this expansion. I think at the 300s or already well into them, 300 original songs for one game written by one guy. That's insane. And we'll have a special presentation by Soken at the end of the show. They did announce a new class. There you go. Class. The Reaper, which is cool looking. It's very, to quote Girlfriend Reviews, Diarrhea Christmas Lights-esque in the combat. If you watch the trailer, they spared no expense in the shiny fart lights. Everything is just, it's over the top, and I love it. It's very reminiscent of .hack GU, which the guy had like a giant scythe, or for those of you anime nerds out there, Soul Eater. The one girl had that, or I guess Ruby from what you call them, Rooster Teeth, the guys that do Red versus Blue. But no, it looks really good. It's a Reaper. He's got the reaping blade, and he has a giant ghosty Reaper guy that does things. There's a new sex coming out. Which leads me to something else that I'm going to do. So the Vera, which are the bunny girls, are coming out with the Vera, the male bunny girls. Are coming to the game when this comes out in November. So yeah, we got the sexy bunny girls, and now we're gonna have the sexy male bunny girls. Is basically what's going on. But watching as this happened, as I tend to do, the algorithm on YouTube, you watch one thing, and it's like, you too might also like seeing other people react to things that you yourself are reacting to on your own. Can we talk about reaction videos for a minute? I'm gonna get back to Final Fantasy XIV, but this aggravates the hell out of me. So if you don't know what a reaction video is, people do it for trailers. They do it, okay, well, mostly for trailers. For news, like, I mean, technically this was a trailer, but it was news. It was 60 seconds long, and they show the guy's sharp bunny feet, and then they show the torso because it doesn't have bunny girl boobs, so you know it's a dude because they can only get so small-chested in Final Fantasy. And also, things are a little tight in that game. I don't know if you've noticed this. And then, but then, so you've got that playing in like a corner, and then you've got the person watching it, the YouTuber, typically. And it usually goes one way, and it's not reality. So they'll be, let's see if I can, okay, we'll play, oh, I don't have that. Okay, we'll play this little thing. So you've got things, oh, look, it's a thing, and it's just showing burning fire. Oh, there's a ghost guy coming. Oh, it's a raper class. Holy shit. Oh my God. And they start ripping off their shirt like they just made a fucking goal in soccer, football if you're overseas. And they lose their friggin' minds. And they're just so over the top and like, oh my gosh. Oh, I was so looking forward to this. I never had hoped. Except for the part where, before they did the reactionary video, it says things like Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker Reaper reveal. You already knew what it was, dumbass. We all knew what it was because the fucking trailer says it in the goddamn title. Or how about this? Male Vera are on their way. And it's like Final Fantasy XIV Endwalker Male Vera reaction or trailer. You know what it is. We all know you know what it is. Why are you acting like this is a surprise? The only time it could possibly be a surprise is if you were watching it live. And even then, a lot of times, they'll be like, Male Vera release trailer. And you know what it is. So why are you acting it? Because, let's be honest, when you're watching something revealed, and I get excited. I mean, I get excited internally, like, a grown-ass adult does. So I hear the music, and I see this Reaper show up. Oh, neat. Yeah, that's a Reaper. That's cool. Oh, he's got a really big scythe. Huh, cool. Oh, wow, that's a lot of lights. Huh, looks like a fun class to play. And I move on with my day. That's the end of it. That's what an actual living person's reaction was. Even back in the day, when Darth Maul revealed his double-bladed lightsaber in the Episode 1 trailer before we knew how the movie was going to turn out, which in retrospect is a fantastic movie compared to 7, 8, and 9, we were all amazed. I watched that trailer probably 15, 20 times, and it was fantastic. Never had a reaction like these jackasses do. Never covering my mouth, never like pounding on the table, never throwing my shirt over my head and doing an air horn and whatever the shit else they do. It's just fucking stupid. So stop it. If you do a reaction trailer, I might have to. I'm gonna end up doing one just to parody this bullcrap. It just drives me out of my friggin' mind. Anyway, moving on. The new areas, we're going to the moon. We already knew that. The new areas look fantastic for the game if you've not actually seen their screenshots. The Magus sisters are coming. They're a long-standing thing in the Final Fantasy universe. Long-standing. They're introduced in, first appeared in Final Fantasy VII, and Yuna as a powered Aeon in Final Fantasy X. That's where I remember them from, because I never played... Final Fantasy IV. Okay. I have to do the math, because I played Final Fantasy III, which stateside is Final Fantasy III, and Japanese side was Final Fantasy VI. So I never really played through 4. 6 was really where I got into the series, and thereafter. So that's really cool. Good for them. They have some new thing for Endwalker. We'll introduce a brand new Alliance raid series. See? Elder Scrolls Online? Look at that. They're increasing and adding to their raid series, not removing a 24-man raid and crashing it down to 12 so that you could fit your stupid companions into it. I'm not saying you should take a lesson from Final Fantasy XIV, but you should fucking take a lesson from Final Fantasy XIV. Don't do what you're doing. It is dumb, and I have a feeling you're going to lose a lot of people because I know my friends, Jazz in the chat, she's not real happy. There are a whole bunch of people on her Shadows and Dream Discord. Not real happy. about the new stuff coming down the line. It is not a good look. So it's titled Myths for Final Fantasy XIV, titled Myths of the Realm. It'll take you deeper into the lore of Final Fantasy XIV Online than ever before, all while presenting an exciting challenge, which sounds cool. Good for them. I like... Okay, I mean, again, they're doing dungeons and raid series that explore the lore within the game, which doesn't happen a lot. That's very cool. There's some new thing called the Loporits, which are basically... halfling bunnies? I don't know. They look like the Lalafell, but they got bunny faces and bunny ears, and they're creepy as shit. So, I think I triggered her. Jazz in the chat says, yeah, let's not fix our lag issues. Let's cut grouping numbers and add companions, which add lag. Because, yeah, no reason whatsoever. Of course, they would say reasons. I think is actually the official next term. So the pre-order bonuses are pretty cool. Like I said, you get early access, you get that 30% thing, you get a stupid wind-up minion, which fucking cares about the stupid minions. The collector's edition, which is already sold out, so there's almost no point in going over it, has a statue of Derplander, which is what people call like the main guy that you see in the videos. It looks fine. I mean, it's just a statue of him as a paladin, with the shiny, like, Goku swirls around it. It looks good. I mean, I'm not spending whatever the hell it was they wanted for it. Let's see if I can find out. Because I looked, but it was already sold out. And... doesn't have that there. Yeah, that's always a good thing to look up live on the show, is something that should be there. Also... for like the 5 of you that have a PlayStation 5, I think when the 5.5 patch comes out, you will be getting that on the PS5. You'll be able to play Final Fantasy XIV. It's $140, which actually for a collector's edition is not bad. Some of these things are creeping up at $300, $400, $500. So $140 for a collector's edition is not terrible. You're not going to be able to get it, but it comes with the statue. It comes with a plushie of the halfling rabbit art, which the art in Final Fantasy is fantastic, and a stupid pin. Yeah, whatever. But like I said, they're sold out, so doesn't matter. And so yeah, but no, the thing. But in Canadian, well, that's because Canadian money is actually worth slightly less than Monopoly money. Ericus in the chat. That's why. And sadly, your money is even, as I think I did long ago, though this may have improved, Venezuelan money still worth less, last I checked, than gold actually sells for in World of Warcraft. So at least you've got that going for you. You know, good for you. You got that. Way to go. You're beating Venezuela. Yeah, way to go. Yeah, you hoser. So moving on, it was a good thing. I will have one other Final Fantasy XIV thing, but that will stay to the end of the show because it is too good not to put at the end of the show. In other news, this one strikes a chord with one of a former host of the show, Strafe. And I heard that this was coming, but I didn't realize how soon it was coming. But a 5-episode part 1 of the series based on Mattel's characters will Friday, July 23rd, Masters of the Universe Revelation. So He-Man is coming back, and he's not only coming back, but he's coming back from Kevin Smith, of all people. You might know him from being Kevin Smith. If you don't know who Kevin Smith is, you probably going to have to take your nerd card away because, Clerks, one of the best. He's huge in nerds and video games. He's just, seriously, Clerks, dude. Dogma, which is one of his lesser, critically acclaimed lesser movies, by critics, but I fucking love Dogma. Just the way they go about the religious aspect. And of course, having What's-Her-Face as actual God, the one that says, wouldn't it be ironic, who's, again, I'm not feeling well, so I'm completely forgetting her name. getting sick is really getting annoying. It's like a no smoking sign on your cigarette break, or 2,000 spoons when all you need is a knife, and meeting the man of your dreams, and then meeting his beautiful wife. Alanis Morissette, thank you, Jazz. I was actually just stalling until you would correct me. Thank you very much. Alanis Morissette playing God at the end of the movie was fantastic. And, of course, Alan Rickman. Just the cast is fantastic. It's a great movie. Anyway, Kevin Smith is doing this. Apparently, the new series is actually kind of a sequel. They're actually not just a straight-out reboot. It says it's following a climactic battle between He-Man and Skeletor. Eternia is fractured, and the Guardians of Grayskull are scattered. And after decades of secrets tore them apart, it's up to Teela, which I think, if I remember right, she's the bird girl, good guy, to reunite the broken band of heroes and solve a mystery of the missing Sword of Power in a race against time to restore Eternia and prevent the end of the universe. It's got a great cast, too, actually. Mark Hamill has come out of voice acting retirement to play Skeletor. Curse you, He-Man! Kind of a thing. And given that he did the Joker so well, I have no doubt that he'll be fantastic. I would play the trailer, but they've released are screenshots, and it's very clean. Supposedly it's CGI, but it's very clean, cel-shaded CGI, if that's what that is, because it does not look like CGI whatsoever. And I clicked on a picture, and now I've lost my spot. So, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Buffy the Vampire Slayer as Teela, Chris Wood as Prince Adam, He-Man, Lena Headley as Evil Lynn, blah blah blah. There's a whole bunch of Alicia Silverstone come out of nowhere. I haven't seen her pop up on a list of something in forever. Justin Long, also really good. And Kevin Conroy, who you might know as the voice of Batman from the Batman animated series. So, no, there's not much else to it other than that, but I just wanted to hit on that because it looks really, neat. It looks cool. And I'm excited for it, especially because it's Netflix. And if Kevin Smith, the guys that did he didn't do Voltron, but the Voltron stuff was really good. Even the Thundercat stuff was good, even though it got canceled, unfortunately. So moving on, this one's a weird one. Target is forced to stop selling physical Pokemon cards, along with other things like NFL, NBA, and MLB cards. They're going to temporarily suspend and remove them from stores. They're not going to... You can still buy them online. But the reason for this is because of a very good reason. The shortage is partly because the pandemic. You know what's coming. I gotta just,
Don't nobody understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, man.
Yes, thank you. I know. So the pandemic.
You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Right. Caused a shortage, and combined with a recent slew of people buying these old things, these cards, and like reselling them on the aftermarket reselling. There's also a huge thing where people will like open up these boxes if they find them online for viewers and stuff. It's this huge. I mean, I call it underground, but it's underground because I don't pay attention to fucking cards anymore. I used to collect the Marvel cards back in the mid to late 90s. I have like the first 3 or 4 series, like every single card still in a binder up in the attic because that's not worth anything. But I'm not going to get rid of it. I spent a lot of money on that shit. Psylocke was the last card on and that was awful. So this has caused the pandemic shortage, and the reselling has cost a rush when the stocks comes in. So, they get it, and people are lining up outside of these stores. And the reason they had to do this is it came after a fight where a gun was drawn in Brookfield, Wisconsin's Target parking lot. Yeah. So, quote, police said a 35-year-old man was physically assaulted by 4 other men in the parking lot after an argument over sports trading cards. The victim pulled out a gun he was legally carrying, and the 4 attackers then ran away. No shots were fired. The victim sustained minor injuries. So, first off, good on you for concealed carrying and saving yourself a good beating. Sometimes just the presence of a gun will stop you from getting the shit kicked out of you. Unfortunately, it also scared the shit out of everybody else, which is weird because Wisconsin is not exactly I guess, I don't know. Brookfield does not sound like a major metropolitan area. You'd think they'd, know like, hey, maybe don't beat the shit out of somebody. We're a concealed carry state. Doesn't work well around here when people do those YouTube videos and try to scare people in clown outfits. It ends poorly. Don't make people feel like their life is threatened. Good rule of thumb. But yeah, people ran off into the woods and they were hiding. The guy did drive off, and I think the police found him. No charges are filed. But the fact that this happened, the fact that 4 other adult men were going to beat the shit out of another 35-year-old adult man for trading cards kind of spooked Walmart. Apparently this is on the, like, tickle me Elmo level of beating the shit out of people, which at least then it was just grandmas beating the crap out of other grandmas, which is it's adorable. It's like watching kittens play. It's fine. It's not fine. Don't do that if you're a fucking idiot, if you're beating the shit out of somebody over an object or an item. So yeah, the Target is like, yeah, you know what? Fuck this shit. We're not taking this kind of responsibility over Pokemon trading cards. I mean, how they make they sell all the entire stock that comes in. They get $1,000, maybe, and that's not even counting what it costs for them to buy it, to sell it. So yeah, and they already had a 1 purchase per customer rule. So I guess you could only get like 1 pack, which not really worth waiting in line for a single pack of anything at all. But let's see. Oh, ironically enough, they only mentioned sports cards and Pokemon cards. So if you're wondering if things like Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh if that's your jam, Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh, those are in stock because apparently nobody really gives a shit about Magic the Gathering and Yu-Gi-Oh cards at the moment. Go figure. I thought they were both still fairly popular. Well, not so much Yu-Gi-Oh. I haven't seen that pop up anywhere in forever, but I thought Magic was still pretty big. I know there's a huge aftermarket thing for that, but that usually comes up when that Lotus, the Black Lotus thing is found. What about World of Warcraft cards? No one cares. No, nobody cares.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
It will not. So, in other news, Sony anticipates the PlayStation 5 shortages to last for the rest of the year. Yeah! Oh, fuck. No, that's not good news. The show is over. I've made Ericus cry in the chat. We are done. Good night, everybody. The people that run Sony, according to Bloomberg, they're selling their consoles like crazy. Like they are on par with the PS4 right now. They've sold 7.8 million PS5s by the end of March, and it's planning to meet a sales goal of 14.8 million units until this fiscal year, which is similar to the number of PS4s. But because of the chip shortage, and I'm going to say, technically they are selling even to botters, and stuff like that. They are selling, but are people that really want them getting? I know I see on my Facebook marketplace every now and then somebody selling a PS5 or Xbox Series X, which is the one I have, and I totally blanked on it, for like $850, $900. Although I did see one, and they just used a stock photo as if it was theirs, and they would mail it to you for $850, which means that it was a giant scam, and they didn't have jack shit, is what they actually were trying to sell. They were just scamming people, which is why I and many other people under there reported it, because that's exactly what it was. So, yeah, the chip shortage and all this stuff, it's not good, man. It's not good. So I'm going to move on from that because there's only so much I can talk about. They're not going to be there. I imagine Xbox Series X is probably in the same boat. You can't make enough. So moving on to this last bit of news. For those of you who don't know who J. Scott Campbell is, first of all, how dare you? How dare you? No, it's understandable. If you don't read comics and you don't know artists like Todd McFarlane or Jim Lee, just and on and on and on. Those are some of my favorite. Joe, I never say his name right, Madeira, who did Battle Chasers and did a huge stint on X-Men for a time. But J. Scott Campbell's been in the industry forever, and he has some of the most iconic covers and art, an art style, just in comics in general. And recently, somebody named let's see, I just lost it. It's a thing called fixing bad comic art, which it's not bad comic art. It's comic art. It's just art. It's comic books. Here's the newsflash thing, people. Comic artists aren't drawing like Michelangelo and Donatello and Raphael and Leonardo. They're not doing the Ninja Turtle style of human art. It's not supposed to be realistic. They're basically cartoonists of the human form. Now there's certain proportions and things like that go into this. And actually, the great thing about Campbell is he breaks this down very, very well. And it's part of what I loved about this is it doesn't just go after this guy for quote unquote fixing his art. He actually breaks down, and fixes the guy's fixed art. Because that's what the guy did, and he shows how he came about to the original version of this. And it's, for those of you that don't know, it's Spider-Man episode 601. If you want to look it up, it's a famous one of Mary Jane. She's in her white Spider-Man shirt. She's got holy jeans on. She's on the couch. She's got one leg under her, one leg kind of propped up next to her. She's got a cup of smoky tea or coffee, and it's in the background. She's looking over her shoulder, and Spider-Man is swinging into the distance, having just left. And she's alone again, because that's kind of the shitty life of Mary Jane for a good long time. Now, this guy who is, I'm trying to find I had it here. Oh, it's just called #fixing bad art. I want to get this. It's something that's driving me crazy. I just had this. It's driving me nuts. Doggone it. Of course this would happen. I had it it was at the top. Well, poop. I can't believe I've totally... He goes into it. Where is it at? It's non-binary something is the guy's @name. Yeah. Let's see. Can I click on that? I can't make that bigger, can I? Oh, well. Anyway, so the guy, he quote-unquote fixes Campbell's art. Yeah, I know, right? I'll find it as I'm reading through here. But so he goes on here. Oh, that's why I can't find it. They've gone back and redacted his name in the article. Even though he has changed it, the people writing these articles have redacted the guy's name. Wow. See, and here's the thing with this is the articles I've read on this are all bashing Campbell for, actually responding to this and doing it the way he did it. Meanwhile, fans and people in the art world and just comic books in general, yeah, well, if you punch somebody, if you're going to criticize somebody, don't be upset when they criticize you back. So his name was non-binary something or other. It's the only part I remember. But so the guy says here, quote, "I made an attempt at fixing this because it was so bad. LOL. It's not perfect, but it's better than it was, so that's all that matters. LOL. Just don't look too closely at it. It's fine." And may as well hashtag @fixing bad comic art, since their blog is mainly what inspired me to do this. Smiley face, clown nose, yeah. So first off, not really, if you're going to go in there fixing somebody's art, maybe sound a little more confident in the way you did it. So in the way he changes it is he just basically, he thickens her out a bit. He moves her arms down from in front of her, sticking out, and just puts them a little bit more naturally in her lap, perhaps, and then draws a Popeye-style forearm, and then puts her legs up underneath her. For those of you that played EverQuest 2, you know how we sat with your legs directly underneath you, folded, not crosswise, just directly folded, and she's sitting on the couch like that, because that's how, women tend to sit. Never. And given Campbell's thing, as he explains, at least came from a girl he knew that actually did sit like that on the couch, and he thought it was cute and endearing, which is why he did it. And that's perfectly fair. He actually didn't come up with the pose. He just did it. So the reason you know what? I'm just going to read what Campbell has to say, because he can say it better than I don't need to do it. He said, over the weekend, a famous cover of mine featuring MJ from Spider-Man got a lot of attention again when it began circulating on Tumblr, Twitter, and eventually Facebook. You see, someone going by the name of, now it's redacted, non-binary something or other, took to fixing the artwork, as they put it, as well. And yeah, they like the pictures that he made, they actually redacted the guy's name, even though he changed it all over. Wow. Yeah. Nice way to not take sides when you're writing your articles. Luckily, I'm not that guy. I can do what I want because I'm an opinion guy, not a journalist. So, fixing the artwork, as they put it, and, well, that got a lot of people talking. Now, typically, and this is true, this is the first time in 40 years of watching this guy I've ever seen him actually, say anything about somebody doing these, like, hey, fixing. Now, typically, I just ignore this sort of thing, but it seemed to go a bit viral, with even friends and colleagues reposting it, explaining that this sort of, quote, correcting of other well-established artists is just, well, tacky, which it is, and it is. In light of this, though, I decided to embrace the situation and do a little bit of art fixing myself. What do you think? Seems trendy. I'm up for new things, so let's have fun and fix stuff. We have non-binary redacted's initial fixing, quote, fixing of my artwork. Be respectful now, as, quote, non-binary redacted clearly states it's not perfect, and, quote, don't look too closely, it's fine. Seems non-binary redacted might seem a bit sensitive about their art. I take the opportunity to return the favor and generously offer my critique of non-binary redacted's fixing. NBF, I'm so bad with old man yells at clouds. NBF, not before oh, that's the guy's non-binary F. I don't know what, I forget. I totally forgot because they've redacted it, and I haven't looked at this since I put it up a couple days back, or this beginning of the week. Didn't ask for my criticism, and that's okay. I'm just giving it away. And by the way, for almost anybody else that draws and does comic book style art, getting a critique from J. Scott Campbell, I could tell you I would screenshot the living shit out of everything he put, no matter how bad it was, because that would be awesome. And don't get me wrong, I'm not good. I used to draw a lot. I've drawn, comic book characters and stuff when I was younger. They're not great. I know they're not great, which is why I would never be so bold or stupid as to be like, I'm going to fix J. Scott Campbell or anybody else's stuff. Yeah, that doesn't work like that. So to go back to what Campbell said, I took the time out of my busy schedule to redraw and, quote, fix all of non-binary redacted's mistakes, and there were many. I then share how their artistic vision would be improved with my fixing. Feel free to look closely and do as you want. Hey, maybe non-binary redacted is onto something. Maybe unsolicited correcting no one asked for is fun. Hope this is educational of all kinds. Now, so what he does is he takes the picture, and I know just like going over math numbers, describing pictures on a podcast is probably fantastic listening, but you're the one here, so that's really on you at this point. He actually took the guy's version of it and redrew it to make it more realistic, because the way girls sit when they got their legs under them, they're usually off to the side a little bit. The leg that's poking out more usually is farther over under the hip, and the other leg is usually under that same butt cheek. It's just I'm not a woman, and I sit like that sometimes when I'm my back is hurting. So, but he goes over all the different things. Let's see here. Oh, there it is. This one's got it. Non-binary Finn Mertens. I don't know what the fuck that is. I mean, I know what a non-binary is, but I don't know what a Finn Mertens is. Somebody smarter than me is going to have to tell me what a Finn Merton is. It sounds like absolute, probably nothing would be my guess. So he goes over the neckline. I feel, he points at his version of the neck. I feel bad embarrassing non-binary since most artists I know with class don't typically act this way, but since it seemed NB is open to the concept of openly critiquing artists, I feel compelled to reciprocate and point out that the clavicle bones here are placed entirely too high, especially given that this is a downshot. To be fair, the clavicles, which is that thing right under your neck that you usually see, it's basically in her throat partway into her neck. So that's way too high. Let's see. Non-binary also has decided that the original breast size shirt cleavage of the late 2000s midriff was incorrect and needed, quote, fixing too. As an artist, I'm used to referring to that as preference rather than correct or incorrect, but let's go with their premise for shits and giggles. Non-binary seems to have created what looks more like a swimsuit effect, lacking in wrinkling, tucking, fabric pulling, etc. The shirt's just basically a flat wash. There's no real texture to it, which you do in comic books. You put little wrinkles and things when it comes up on a hip or across a boob. There's a wrinkle, or on some of the guys like cloaks over the shoulder. There's wrinkles. Look at fucking capes. The effect is a flat, one-dimensional upper body, which is true. Even the Spider-Man logo, it looks like it's just basically copied and pasted. The inner elbow is especially narrow here, as the forearms appear swollen and oddly bulbous. It shows Popeye. And then, of course, the actual posture of her legs sitting down makes her look like she's not relaxed. She doesn't look cozy. She looks like she's getting ready to spring up off the couch like a puppy, as according to what he says. So he goes through and fixes all this, and that's fine, perfectly fine for me. Again, if I was critiqued by J. Scott Campbell and he redrew a picture that I'd redrew of him, I would be, oh man! I tell you one thing, I sure as shit wouldn't have changed my name and tried to hide. If don't start shit if there won't be shit. That's the thing. So the reaction here is in the articles is things like this. I've got two articles here. I looked at several, but these were basically they're the exact same thing. They would put things like, they quoted other Twitter users, which is where intellectual honesty goes to die. Damn, bro, there really is nothing cooler than a professional in their late 40s. I keep saying call him 40 years. He's been in the thing for like 25, 30 years. I remember him back in 1995. So yeah, 25 years. I don't know why I kept saying 40. Probably because he's in his 40s. In their late 40s, shaming someone in their teens, and I don't know that the guy was in their teens, by the way, just trying to make your hypersexualized, quote, art into a view that doesn't make women uncomfortable. You're definitely not a sexist or hypersexualizing. I'll get to that in a moment. There's another one. The original critique by NB is of the male gaze present in your first illustration. I don't think anyone can question your technical competence. What's being discussed here is the political implications of your stylistic choices. This isn't a dunk, it's a missing the point. Again, this is a guy that has from a guy named CJ that has his hair spiked up and looks rather dumb. Quote, another one, this is so bad coming from you, bro. It's just a small Tumblr account. That and your official art is not above criticism in a professional setting. Which is true. That's actually true. Your art is not. And neither is anybody else's art when they share it, especially when they're correcting somebody else's art. It's funny how that works one way, but not the other. And there's another one. There is no such thing as fixing art, but there is room for improvements, especially when you draw female characters propped like sexual items rather than a character with actual depth. If you don't know who Mary Jane Watson Parker is, and you call her a character without depth, you're a fucking moron. she's one of the she's a very strong independent woman character. I've watched the Spider-Man movies. Even that doesn't do her justice. They do good, but even that doesn't do, she's not one to be fucked over and, screwed around with. She's a very independent woman. She's a fantastic character. So for somebody to claim that, they're just dumb. So here's the thing. This is one of my favorites here is misogyny in comic book art is very much an issue. I mean, people keep saying that, but the rest stuff cotton in their ears or take things out of context to justify a defensive response. Maddening. All right, so I'm going to go off on a limb here. I think I said it earlier. These are cartoonists. They do these things in an exaggerated form. Now, I don't know if anybody watching this right now, I'm going to let me sit up just a little bit. And I have lost weight. I've lost 50 pounds. I was 260, I'm at 210. I was a fatty, and I'm still, technically a fatty. But look at that right there. See, that's me. I am not, I don't know if anyone realizes this, I don't look like Cyclops from the X-Men. I don't look like Star-Lord. I don't look like Captain America. I don't even look like Wolverine, who's Canadian and like 5'6" and a shorty. They're all very, very strong and well built. Also, when I wear my underwear on the outside of my pants, I don't have a bulge like that. I know everyone wanted to know that. But yeah, there is not a over-exaggerated Goblin King style from the Labyrinth bulge as is drawn with comic book males. That's the thing. The women, are they kind of sexualized and super sexy? Yeah. Are the dudes equally as, fit and svelte as possibly can be? Yeah. That's just comic books, you fucking twit. That's how that stuff works. You know what doesn't work? For everybody that's seen, if you're fighting crime, you're fighting supervillains with other powers, you probably need to be in good shape to keep up. Now, I think we've all seen the videos of the cop that weighs 260, 300 pounds, trying to chase a suspect down the street. It doesn't get really far. You know why? Because he's really out of shape. I don't know if you know this, but fat people don't run that fast. We're also very hard to kidnap, which is good, and it is a bonus. But we're not quick on our feet, unless, there's a sale at Chick-fil-A or, the Denny's. Then we can, we're like dwarves. We can move, but in very short bursts of speed, kind of a thing. I'm closer to, if I'm looking like a comic book character, I'm closer to looking like the Blob. Nothing moves the Blob than I am to looking like Captain America. I mean, even the movie versions, you want to get into the misogyny. Look at all the dudes in the movie versions of the Marvel comics and stuff, and even compare that to the women. Yes, are the women gorgeous? Fantastic. Gal Gadot, she's a really good-looking woman. I've just forgot. Scarlett Johansson, love her. She's fantastic. But not really there just because I want to oogle women in tight leather or, whatever the metallic bras that Wonder Woman wears. I don't know. That's just how you have to be if you're a superhero. I mean, if it's just the way you should be probably if you're a police officer too, for the most part. And there are a lot of them that are, which is fantastic. You should take care of yourself. I know that. As a fat guy in training, I was not taking care of myself. I was training to be fat, and then I had to stop being fat. And I still don't work out. I just happen to find something that I can eat better, and I lose weight. Still can't run for shit. My back still hurts. My neck is killing me, and I still get colds from my grandson, which is why I'm rambling on the way I am right now. So the end result of this is if somebody didn't ask you to critique something, and you do, just know that this might happen to you. And I give J. Scott Campbell a lot of props for not caving in to the bullshit that these people, threw at him. Because he did. On Twitter, he took a beating. Although I will say he recently did another thing just now where he had people draw in your art style comic book. It was one of, not Black Widow, Black Cat in Spider-Man's shirt pulled down. That's all she was wearing, chewing on pearls on a pile of, gold. And, yeah, it was a sexy pose. And he said, all right, let's go ahead and do this in your art style. Do what you want. And some people did Peter Parker doing the same pose, which was absolutely fantastic. There was people's different art styles. It's a really cool thing. I've really enjoyed seeing other people's art styles. Some of them, one person did it almost looked like it was a Nicktoons kind of a look. It was fantastic. So he's really hit back on that, and that's good. Now, here's the other thing, real quick, before I move on and end the show with the last bit. The Twitter and responses that are put in these articles are as I just read. And then there's the ones you actually get when you go to Twitter, where you look under even the comment section of these articles are, I would say, 90% in favor of Campbell. Yeah, about like that. The very first one at the top. Campbell's response was fantastic. He's an excellent artist, and I'll try and buy something he worked on next time I'm in a comic shop just to give him some support. It's odd to me that angry Twitter people were so insistent that he was attacking a, quote, teenager. I don't think I've ever checked someone's online save, though I've definitely assumed they were younger based on the level of maturity. So, and it just goes on and on and on and on like that. People just saying, yeah, he has every right to hit back. And he wasn't even hitting back because he could have been, was he a little snarky? Yeah, but at the same time, I think he's finally had enough. And that's perfectly, I have enough, and I get snarky. I get snarky when I haven't had enough. So, and lastly, one last thing from Campbell is he said this, quote, I didn't do it for me. I used a very public and viral meme as a teachable moment for some of the youth out there that no one appreciates this. This isn't a good look. It was what some might call parody or humor to make a bigger point. And I'm sorry if you missed if that was missed by you. And he's right. The way he went about this, he broke down how he draws these pictures, like going from the wireframe, the curve of the spine. If you've ever done art stuff, I'm probably boring you or out of your depth, whatever. But then the chunks like the hips and the torso, upper torso, they don't move. I mean, they can move, but hips and torso aren't bendy. Like the stomach, he shows the stomach area, that's a bendy spot. Like my torso up here, because of my rib cage, it can go in and out when I breathe, and I can hunch over, but no matter what, the torso doesn't move. My hips, they don't shrink down or get smaller. My thighs and my calves, my forearms, my biceps, all that, it stays, it is what it is. Now, the squishy bits in the middle, I can rotate my organs, kind of compress and things like that. He goes over all that. He goes over basically how comic book anatomy works. And that's fantastic. It is a teachable moment. And anybody that completely missed that point is a fucking moron. And that's all I'm going to say on that. So, and lastly, now, Masao Yoshi Soken is the Final Fantasy, as I said earlier, Final Fantasy XIV composer. Now, at their recent Fanfest, it was digital only. They didn't have people there. There was nobody there. They did it online only, and it was good. They did real well. He came out, and it's not often you get a composer that will actually can do it all. He can compose a song, and he can sing it. He can do the whole thing. So he came out on stage as a professional to do one of his songs, and it's it's called the it's a fucking fantasy name, Rakatiki Greatwood Theme. I can't play the actual theme long because I'll probably get copyright strike from Square Enix, but you know what? It's worth it. So here's just a small portion of what it's supposed to sound like, and then just so you have something, if you're not familiar with it, compare to how utterly amazing Soken did. See? It's a great sound. It's got the vocals in the background. Leha something. It's basically gibberish, but and then it goes into this flute thing. which is great. It's one of my favorite from Shadowbringers. It's one of my favorite Zone songs. And then you have Soken, who comes out on stage, and I love the clapping because there's like one dude in the audience because they're on this massive stage, and it's just the girl and the piano. And here comes Soken. He's got his suit on, very professional. And he's got some sort of kazoo-like instrument. He's, for those of you that don't know art like I do, he's just testing to make sure he's, fine-tuning the instrument. He's gonna play Lahi, which is, what they sing in the thing.
Will play Lahi.
Right, so he's reiterating, gonna play Lahi. He's standing in the theater.
Start
the music. Now, if you're driving, probably pull over, because it is breathtaking. Just amazing. Moving. The reaction of the pianist in the background. Just blown away. That's all him playing those instruments right there. Now, I know what you're thinking. That doesn't sound like the original. You're right, it doesn't. It sounds better. Because Soken is not a national treasure. He is a worldly treasure. Sorry, I'm not laughing. I'm just choked up with emotion. I'm not gonna say what emotion. What emotion? I mean, he's playing two instruments at the same time. That's talent. Who else could do that? Not many people. I'm gonna tell you that right now. And sing at the same time. And the horrified expression of the professional pianist in the background carries on. Because she is blown away. Moving. Truly. He bows to the camera, and then jets off stage like he's on a fucking sprint, and some bears are chasing him. Now, I know you're saying that may not have sounded like the original, and you're right. It's better. I mean, just flat out better. Honestly, the likes underneath it kind of prove that, actually. No, it was awful. It was the worst fucking thing I've ever listened to from a professional artist. It's just, I can probably do better than that. It's just so bad. But, I mean, the guy's freaking Guinness Book of World Records. He's been doing this stuff since, A Realm Reborn, doing the music and stuff. So to have him come out on stage live, play that stupid little instrument, and then sing like that, I mean, the guy, balls of steel, and just doesn't care. He knows how funny it is. It's just awesome. I absolutely loved it, and I had to share that. Yeah, maybe we get taken down for the copyright thing. I don't honestly care because, I'll put it up on the podcast. So, yeah, that's Soken. That's Soken right there. Just 100% amazing. So, with that, yeah, you know what? No, I don't want to go out on that music. There's only one theme song to go out on. So, with that, I appreciate you guys listening. This is episode 33 of Crashed While Loading. Remember, twitch.tv/Crashed While Loading if you want to listen to it live, just as Jazz, Ericus, and I don't know, some other people that came in and out throughout the show did. If you enjoy the show and you're listening on the podcast, remember to like it. If you watch it live and you want to listen to other ones that you missed later, look it up on a podcast because that's where it's at. There's that high note. You gotta love that high note. That's the whole point. And if you go on the twitch.tv/crashwhile-loading, go to the About section and join the Discord, you too can listen to me flail about as I try not to come down with probably a stomach virus or whatever. So, with that, I am Ashton Phoenix. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week, if I haven't died horribly by then. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/huskybythegeek to hear all the latest in video game rock covers and original music. Breathtaking.